Welcome, Gemini, to Tony's Tarot and Astrology. So we're going to have a look at this new moon for Gemini, and I'm going to be doing a tarot spread. We'll have a look at the astrology placements first. So this new moon is at 24 degrees Cancer, and it's quite a potent new moon because it's actually opposing Pluto and making a T-square to the nodes. So here we have the Sun Moon here at 24 degrees Cancer, opposite point, late degrees cardinal of Capricorn is Pluto, and squaring this is the node. So it's a really potent time relative to relationships, relative to connections, but also relative to our own personal look into what our personal needs are, what we're wanting to change in our life, with Pluto sitting the opposite, what we're wanting to let go of and transform. And it's with the Moon Pluto and Sun Pluto, it's a very powerful time. Like I said, it's a very deep psychic time. It's time when we can delve in much deeper into the Sun Moon energy of our spirit, the Sun, and our soul, the Moon, and also understanding ourselves better with self-expression. So for Gemini, you have this new moon sitting in your second sector, and this is what happens when the Sun Moon is in Cancer, because Cancer is your next sector along. Now, the second sector is all about your security and your assets, and opposing your eighth sector of Pluto here. This is also about your values, what you're wanting to let go of, what you're really, again, wanting to, what you're taking a deeper look into in your life to change, transform, or to release even, especially when it comes to old emotional situations that can be reiterated for us. So you also have Mercury and Venus sitting in your third sector. Now the third sector is about your communications, your friendships with those that have known you for a long time, siblings. It's also can relate to writing and how you express yourself. Perfect place for Gemini to have Mercury in the third sector. Of course, the third sector relates to Gemini, and also Mercury is ruled by Gemini. And Gemini is also ruled by Venus. So, Venus is when I say ruled, Venus is the known as the esoteric ruler of Gemini, and that's why the Lovers card in the tarot relates to Gemini as well. So what that means is that this is a time where you're able to really express yourself with regards to your creativity, your relationships, and you're going to find this is a really adaptable place. Even though the Moon Pluto energy and the Sun Pluto may be feeling like it's pulling you in a different direction, you're able to freely express who you are and really look at your own personal freedom of expression and your own abilities within communication. Mars is in the fourth sector, the sector of the home and where you feel safe and secure. And with Mars there, this is quite a driving force for more situations around the home. With the Sun Moon being focused on the second sector of your assets, you could be thinking about property, thinking about home, and what your needs are there within that situation. But with Mars there sitting in that placement, it could be a lot of work from home over this month, and it could also be wanting to do some work around the home, as in beautifying the home, some renovations or other smaller jobs that you'd be feeling quite motivated for with Mars there. So the new moon covers the month, if I didn't say so. So the spread that we're going to be looking at, and pretty much the energies I'm picking up on are for the next month. Some of these combinations, of course, are sitting there all year for you. What we've just had going on, what we're about to have going on, because this new moon is on the 17th of July, is a nodal shift happening at the same time. So the nodes have been in Taurus, Scorpio. And so for Gemini, they've been sitting in your 12th and 6th sector. Now they're moving into Aries, and with that you're getting the 3rd and the 11th sector activated. So your for Gemini, you're not the 3rd. Sorry, I put my glasses on. Oh, that's better. The 5th. So I'm going to say that's not the 3rd, that's the 5th. So for that, what that means is that the focus has been on the 6th and 12th, which has all been about others and healing and what you've had to do for others and helping others in that way. Attention hasn't really been on you as much, but it has been quite a karmic time to do with connections and soul connections, especially with that south node that has been sitting there in your 12th sector. So what you have going on here is with the 5th and the 11th, this is about your social interaction. This is where you can get out into the environment more, work with others within your creativity. And, the South Node, there can be connections from the past that you could be finding that you're spending a lot of time catching up with over the next 18 months. So this nodal axis shift that's about to happen is going to cover the next 18 months. So like I said, it's going from your 6th to your 5th house because the node moves backwards. And with the South Node in the 6th, it could have been a bit stressful around working situations or people from the past, or just people, or just experiences that you find are being reiterated, through your work experience, through people that, not necessarily connected to you, but are reminders of people of the past. But with it moving into the 5th, like I said, there's a much more creative expression to do with these past connections and to do with where you've been. And with the 11th, it's sort of saying that you're ready to get out into the community, because the South Node is where you've been, the North Node is where you're going, where you're wanting to be. This is the 11th sector for you. This is all about basing yourself around groups, people, community, and really sort of connecting out into more of a collective way. So it's not so much of an individual thing, it's more about what you can do with others. So that's what you can expect for the next 18 months with that. Now, the reason I'm bringing up these nodes is because they're being activated. Like I said, Sun, Moon, it's opposite Pluto and squares these nodes. Now, that's quite a big T-square. Now, we have Pluto squaring the node for right up until November this year. And, it's going to be activated because it's sitting there for such a long time. It's really tight at the moment, as you can see. These are sitting right on the cusp, the nodes, and Pluto. So it's under a degree, it's at its tightest, and it's going to widen over that, over the next few months. But whenever there's a personal planet hitting these points, that's when it's going to be effective. And so what we've got here with this new moon is really personal stuff affecting these points and the planet. And with that, with the Pluto node, it's all about the direction that we move forward. Pluto is always creating slow transformation and change in a slow way. And with the nodes there, it's to do with people, connections, and associations. So in other words, you've got fated situations coming in. It could be relative to your creative career, could be relative to the groups of people that you end up working with, but with this Pluto node, like I said, it's being activated for everybody at this time, and it really does relate to fated situations that seem to come into your life for a particular purpose. The past, sometimes when it connects with the past, so we're talking about past life connections, soul connections. We're talking about people that we've experienced in the past that we may be coming into a new cycle of connecting with again. The North Node is all about the new connections or the direction that we're wanting to go in, what we're wanting to set for ourselves. So you're coming out of a space where you've had a lot of time to work through your creative mind. You've spent a lot of time around family. There would have been a lot going on for Gemini around children, family, and lots to be done around that. With going into the 11th sector, this is when you can get out into the community, get out into the workplace, and really feeling like you're making more of a difference and being more active within that. So you've also had Saturn and Neptune sitting in your 10th sector, so that's probably had you sort of, what am I doing with my career, my goals, because it's Saturn, the 10th sector is the mountain, the hilltop you're wanting to climb to feel fulfillment, success, and so it's sort of where you put your plans and your direction, and that's why it relates to career or where you see yourself. Saturn, Neptune there, it's like not quite sure what you're wanting to put your energy into, but you know that you're wanting to do something either for humanity with Saturn, Neptune, to help others. It could be relative to something really practical, or it could be relative to something very spiritual with Neptune. But with the Saturn, Neptune combinations, this is coming up to make an aspect later on. and it's certainly not relevant for right now. But what you will find, Gemini, over this period of time, and especially over this 18 months, that yes, you will be working more towards things that really feel of great value to you. And, that's the other thing with the sun moon, connecting to your second sector. That's all about your own personal values, how you see the world, where we place value, where we put our energy, and what's really important to us. So let's have a look at Gemini and see what you have coming up for the next 4 weeks. So, changes around situations coming up for you. Not feeling whether you're sure with what you're wanting to carry on with and what you're not. But as I said, with this nodal change, I think you're going to find life's going to get a bit easier. Your home environment's going to get a bit easier. And any situations around family will as well. So this is a great time for adaptability and moving forward with others and making decisions. Now, the card that I said, oh, this is great, got a great outcome too. So when I said Gemini is, ruled by Mercury, but esoterically ruled by Venus, this is Gemini here. You've got the Lovers card. The Lovers card, of course, sort of obviously a very strong connection, an intimate connection, but it's also about where we have to be adaptable and where we work with others, all those Gemini things, where we want that other person to bounce off and reflect. It relates to partnerships that we have to consider others in. So, even though it's a lover, sometimes it could be a business partnership. It's about that adaptability and a connection. Now, any Gemini is looking for a relationship at this time. I think this is a perfect time for a relationship or wanting to resolve situations within relationships, because it looks like there's been a little bit of stress around, I don't know if that's relationship or more family situations, but there has been a bit of stress and pressure. And, this is saying that you're going to be able to move forward with agreeable situations and family. There seems to be, again, good news around family, good news around releasing past situations that have been stressful or a burden in some way. And, you're going to be able to move forward into the direction that you're really wanting. So I think for Gemini, this is a really strong time of looking at what do you want with regards to using your mind. And so I think this is a lot to do with your career. For those Geminis that are really, mercurial, using their Mercury skills, writing, it's an excellent time for studies or writing. This is sort of indicating the Hermit here, and building up slowly on things. And it's saying here that there might be something you're feeling a little bit like you regret because you feel like you didn't complete or you didn't, that's a bit of a Gemini thing, but you might have decided to start some studies and you never carried through with it. It's like, you've got this time over the next month or so to really go, what really makes me excited? What really makes my heart sing? Because you are going to put yourself into some form of learning or some form of getting on with some knowledge that you've gained that you've never actually utilised. This is a skill that you have had the opportunity to develop, but you never really carried through with it because possibly it wasn't the right time and you've been busy with other things. So it's saying you're going to get the time, if you want to write a book, you're going to get the time to sit and get the writing done that you need. If you're needing to spend some time on your own, this is a time for really focusing on yourself and creating that space. But you've also got a really good time to do with relationships, coming into a better balance in a more agreeable way. So anything you're needing to sort out with regards to partners or relationships, it's actually going in your favour right now. So, like I said, a good time to go inwards and really look at what you're wanting out of your relationships, what you're wanting out of your career. There has been some situations of disappointment around Gemini here, around the male principle. Now, for women, of course, that could be their relationship or whether it's to do with their partner, their brother, their father, but for men, of course, it could be male connections, again, a father figure or boss or a brother feeling, but it just seems to be like not quite gelling with the male principle as much as gelling with the female principle right now. Now that's okay, because it's not just the divided into the male or female principle. It's more like the types, and I'll say male or female, of quite a selfish nature that can be quite thoughtless and insensitive with words. So any sort of past hurt, I feel like, don't worry about what someone said or what's been said in the past. This is a time to heal what's gone on in the past, but it is also a time to reassess your energy, reassess where you're sharing your energy, and who you do and don't want to share your energy. So there is, there's a bit of a trick with forgiving situations in the past, but meaning you don't have to reattach to them. You can leave them where you want them to be. You don't have to join your energy or even give any energy or time to situations that aren't respecting or honouring you. But at the same time, it's about seeing the lesson that this situation brought you, as well as asking for your heart to clear that away so that it's not blocking you from anything coming in the future, because it is time to sort of let go of what's not working as well for Gemini here. So, Gemini, you may have felt with circumstances that there's been a bit of a struggle going on and that things haven't been in your control, and that, life is a bit of a whirlwind at the moment and you don't know quite where you're going to end up. You might be thinking you're going to be doing this or living here and find that you're in changes. You could be travelling and then making changes around that. But what it's saying here is that the universe is looking after this. Don't worry about not feeling the control of your life at the moment, because, to be honest, you're being cleared. Your way is being cleared for much better situations for you. I've got such excellent outcome here for Gemini with the Ace of Swords at the outcome, which is saying that you're going to get the things you're wanting. So be clear about what it is you really want. If you're wanting more freedom, or if you're wanting a new direction, with regards to, again, your career, your goals, and you're not going to pick easy goals for yourself with Saturn sitting there. Sometimes you'll be feeling a little bit complacent about it with Neptune here. And have I got the energy today to do it? That's fine. If you don't have the energy that day, leave it alone. Don't be hard on yourself. But with Saturn there, you'll have times when all you want to do is work, and you've got so much to get on with. So, be kind to yourself, be patient, because Spirit is sort of saying we're sorting things out where things have not been in balance for you, where people have not been fair on you or honouring you, or again, this is coming down to a sense of control. And again, what we're talking about with the Pluto opposite the Sun Moon, because this is what a lot of us are getting to look at with this combinations going on. It's sort of saying that you don't need the control of your life right now, because that would just, again, do your head in. Just, in some ways, just relax and let the universe do what it's doing right now. If anything's not in alignment with you, it is, like I said, going to be moved out of the way. And if you're having to let go and forgive, that's really important so that you can move forward. Geminis don't like to waste too much time on things, but to create more security for yourself of the goals and the things that you're really wanting to achieve, you are going to, like I said, receive the things you need. If it's money, if it's, security, if it's travel, if it's an opportunity, if it's, the inspiration for writing or for anything that you're doing with regards to this mental work that I can see going on here, you're getting a big help out. You're going to get the results you're wanting. Be open to what the universe wants to give to you right now, and that can be scary because the universe is also sort of pulling things in different directions. Some, like I said, some situations aren't working out, and some it is time to move on because they've been restricting and holding you back. And this is not a time when Gemini is going to be held back. Gemini is going to start to really recognize what they're wanting and how to make it happen for themselves, as well as where they have been held back as well. Now, there is some really good news coming up in this near future around finances. There seems to be any Geminis waiting on money. If you're needing money for a future project, for something that you're wanting to do and you're wanting to share with others, it just feels like there's some money here available so that you can start to create your future. So it looks really good for Gemini. You've got some really fabulous cards. You know, you've got the Lover's card with the Victory card. Like I said, these are fortunate decisions, great opportunities coming in. The Judgment card in the recent past. You know, this means you've just been able to release a whole lot of pressure off yourself. And even though situations are shifting and changing, it's like just release it, just let it go. Again, it's trusting the universe. You've got the Hermit up the top here, which is perfect for Gemini because they do need time to themselves to work on the things, all the things they've got going on in their minds. Got the Hierophant down here. Now that can be sometimes a bit of a burden in the sense of, especially with this control card and this restriction, because you're feeling like you can't move forward right at this point in time. But with the Hierophant, it's saying, don't worry about it. We have the reins here. You can have the reins to your life back very soon, but we're just helping you to get you in the right place to make things happen so that you can keep moving forward. And then around this King of Rods and disappointment, you've got the Death card. So again, this is where you're ending situations with those types, male or female, but this is quite a masculine card here. So if it was a woman, it would be someone very much in their masculine and very much in their space of consumed with their own self and what they can achieve for themselves. So I'd say sort of selfish type energy. And when I say, I don't like using the word selfish because I think being selfish is a good thing. We need to be more selfish. We need to, it's better than being selfless. But you know what I'm saying is that when it's arrogant and when it's not considering others, and there's an attitude with it, that's what you really going to be putting up with. And of course, the outcome, like I said, you've got the Ace of Swords with the Queen of Pentacles, which means not only is this good news going to be exciting for you, and it means you can move forward, it's going to be stable with the Queen of Pentacles here. It's going to be something you can build on, something you can have for your future. And this card here is just saying, just be open to receiving what's coming in for you. So I hope you enjoyed that, Gemini, and we'll see you next time. Bye.